Everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I want to talk about the Walking Dead Dead City season 2. There's been a lot of updates and stuff, and yeah, I really want to talk about this because I do think that this show's honestly going to be I think that season 2 is going to be much better than season 1, just based off of a lot of stuff that I've seen. But yeah, I do want to talk about the idea of Dwight and Sherry actually returning to the Walking Dead Dead City, and yeah, really get into that here because I do think it is actually something that could happen. It looks like there is something in motion anyways, where maybe Dwight actually does show up in season 2. Maybe it's more of a cliffhanger for season 3, but it looks like there is something that is going to be set up here, and I'll talk about exactly what. So yeah, before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. This week, I will be streaming Fallout 3. So I haven't played those games in a very long time. I don't even think I've ever really beat those games. So I'm going to be going back and actually playing all the Fallout games, starting with Fallout 3. So if you do want to watch me actually play this, then definitely go follow me on Twitch. My channel name is just Appetite for the Dead. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. I'll be doing my Q&A video tomorrow. I know I'm very just like off with the Q&As and stuff right now. Honestly, the last couple of days it's just been kind of a blur. But yeah, I'll do the Q&A video again for everybody that actually posted questions. Thank you so much. If you do want to take part in these Q&As, then definitely go join the Discord. The server name is also Appetite for the Dead. The link for that is also in the description of the video. I'll do a Q&A tomorrow, and then I'll also do another one for Wednesday as well. And yeah, but what I really wanted to talk about here with The Walking Dead Dead City season 2 is some stuff that has been coming out lately. So I don't really want to talk about spoilers or anything like that. And honestly, if there was something where we saw a set photo of Dwight actually on set, then I wouldn't talk about that. Like, there's no way I would talk about that unless there was articles written about it. Then I'm like, okay, I can't really avoid it because now everyone's talking about it. It's like everywhere. It's everyone knows about it at this point. But like, there's certain things where it's like small enough details where I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm totally okay with actually talking about that because it doesn't really confirm anything completely. It's just sort of something that I'm curious about. And I saw this here in a post, and I retweeted it because I was just like, whoa, what is this here? And yeah, this is from the Walking Dead Universe Filming, which I guess the account is there and following all the filming updates and all of that. And yeah, it's a really interesting account to follow. What I really like about the account is that there's no spoilers. Like, there might be certain things with the set and all that, but if there's some stuff with certain parts of the story and just a lot of stuff happening, it's like nothing comes out kind of thing, right? So yeah, really incredible. But basically it says episode 201 here, and obviously, what you can see here, it says hashtag Fear the Walking Dead season 8 props are on set tonight. So very interesting, right? Like, if that is true, like, first of all, they could be using props for, I don't even know why. Like, honestly, if you're going to use props from Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like it's because there's a connection to Fear the Walking Dead. You're not just going to use random props for whatever reason, right? Like, there's going to be an actual reason here. And yeah, there's going to be Fear the Walking Dead season 8 props on set. So I'm interested in exactly why. And immediately I was like, wait, Dwight? And again, this might not have any connection to Dwight. Maybe it's just something that was sort of, somewhat related, but I don't know. Then again, like, if you're using props, usually you're just going to create your own props. Like, you're not going to reuse stuff, especially if the props are like, worth keeping from Fear the Walking Dead. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make too much sense. I feel like if you're using the props, it's because there's something very relatable with the story, right? And again, it might just be, as of now, a small Easter egg, something, that sort of teases the future kind of thing. But I do feel like, if they're starting to use things from Fear the Walking Dead in Dead City, then that is really hinting at what's to come here for the Walking Dead Dead City, because I think that you could do, honestly, like a lot of those characters, that's the thing with those Fear the Walking Dead characters. Maybe you don't want to use some of those characters. You just want to wait a couple of years. But Dwight and Sherry, like, perfect characters, right? Like, I think because Rick and Michonne, they're probably not going to be doing a season 2 or like a new series for like a couple of years. Maybe it's 2 years away. Like, again, right now they're really like very much in like the writing process, right? Like, they're just kind of writing the story right now. I'm sure Gimple is working on that part of the story. Because obviously, they're working on Dead City season 2 right now. They're filming that, but that story's done. Daryl Dixon, season 2, they're already done that, but they're getting ready to film season 3. So he's probably working on this story for season 3, but then again, there's another showrunner, there's writers. So, there's a lot of that I'm sure that, they're all kind of working on, but I'm sure Gimple is working on the next part of everything here, and that has to be the Ones Who Live season 2 or like, a new series with Rick and Michonne. And Danai Gurira, obviously, she's very open to it. I think she's actually going to be a big part of the writing process. And again, that's sort of where we're at right now. But that's going to take a bit. Like, when's the next update going to come? I think Comic-Con, obviously, in 3 months from now, that's going to be like the next big update where we learn, what's happening. It's probably going to be like, I'm assuming anyway, just based off the past, it's just going to be, yeah, like we'd be so open to it, this and that. And, I have ideas or whatever. Like, I feel like it's going to be basically the same update that we already just had, right? But who knows? That's the thing, like it took so long before because they were trying to work out the format. They didn't know if they were going to be doing a movie, like a movie trilogy or a TV series. Like, it just ended up being so much. Like, they just had no idea what they were doing, and it kind of went back and forth, and then just so much happened, right? That sort of prolonged everything. But as soon as they got to writing, in early 2022, like the show came out 2 years later, right? So I think that if they're writing right now, it makes sense that the show could come out in 2 years. Anyways, my point with all of this is that it's going to be a bit for that. So I think in the meantime, with the other spinoffs, to make it a lot more exciting is doing a lot more of these other connections, right? Because that ending reunion with Rick Michonne and Daryl and everyone else, that's going to be a lot of fun. But there's other characters that you want to reunite first, right? Like, you want to reunite Dwight and Negan because there's a big story there. And I don't know if in season 2 you could immediately get into it right away. Maybe you could, but I feel like season 2 is going to focus more on, Kim Coates' character being introduced and, just what his story is going to be. Negan being in this new situation in New York and sort of, I guess ruling New York and trying to get everyone sort of together and all of that. Like, I just think that, it's going to be focused more on that with a lot of Easter eggs, for Dwight and Sherry to show up. And I think going through all of that, because if you just think about it, it makes sense. Like, Dwight and Sherry went back to the sanctuary. They're not going to be able to stay there. Like, the sanctuary is just not going to be able to be a thing. Or if it is even a thing and they're able to survive there, maybe Negan goes back there for just some part of the story and then runs into Dwight, right? But even if that's not the case, and say they go there and then they just, they couldn't keep it going because obviously the sanctuary had a lot of issues in terms of crops and resources and stuff. So I think that Dwight could end up in New York City or just in areas around there, right? Surrounding areas. And that's where Negan could run into him because Negan is trying to rally a lot of groups together for the Dama. And I think one of those groups could be Dwight's group. And that could be something that is teased throughout the season and maybe is sort of a cliffhanger for season 3. So having the Fear the Walking Dead season 8 props, that's just very interesting because I'm just trying to think of what that means. Some of the stuff from Fear the Walking Dead and how that relates overall to just having to be on set. And it's probably a lot of little things, I feel like, with Dwight and Sherry. It could be other characters potentially. That's the thing. Like, it might not even be them. What if it's other characters? Because everyone just kind of went everywhere. And again, I just feel like Dead City right now, out of all the shows, needs to get more exciting. Now, I will say I've seen a lot of things in terms of filming that I'm not going to talk about or anything like that. But just based off of the setting and all of that, absolutely incredible. This looks so good. I think it's automatically, I think, already going to be so much better than season 1, but it's just, you're going to have to make people a little bit more excited here. And I feel like if you did have Dwight and Sherry on this show, it's so perfect, right? Like, it's so perfect. There's such a big story there. Dead City also in general kind of is a savior story in a way, right? Like, it's almost like the third part to that story. Like, I talked about that actually when Dead City was out. It felt like All Out War Part 3 in a sense, right? It just felt like an extension to the Savior arc where you had all that going on and it was all tied to Maggie and Negan. And then now with the Croat coming back, his backstory to actually being a savior, to Negan now becoming a leader again like this, in a sense becoming a villain again almost. Obviously he's not going to be, but to a lot of other people he's going to be. It's just like, it feels like a Part 3 right now, right? So it's very exciting. If you did have Dwight come back, it just feels like an epic, bigger scale war. And it feels like the proper part to All Out War because All Out War was a lot of fun. But like, obviously the battles and stuff like that were very, very underwhelming because it was just in fields and stuff. But Dead City, being able to be in New York, just the high budget feeling of these shows obviously is very exciting. And a lot of people do actually, that's why people love these spinoffs and stuff. And Dead City, I think, it could improve a lot. And I think based off of what I've seen so far anyways, it definitely looks like it is improving. And yeah, I just think that it makes sense to have Dwight and Sherry on this show. people are going to be so excited to see that because a lot of people love Dwight. Like, Dwight is such a fan favorite. You need him on the show. You really do need him on the show. And I hope that he does actually show up soon because, you know, Fear the Walking Dead, I'm happy, I guess, overall that show is now just over and done with. But there's still some really incredible characters on that show that honestly could get future stories or future spinoffs. And, you know, Dwight and Sherry, I think, are just perfect for that. Morgan, I also think, is perfect for that. But I think that's going to be saved for a next story here with Rick and Michonne. So I think we'll have to wait for that. But I think with Dwight, it's just perfect. Like, Dwight coming back is just absolutely, like, it just makes the most sense here. It really does. And Dwight, I think, would fit a story like that as well. I can just see everything there. And I feel like if you're Gimple, like, this is the stuff that you want to do, right? And I think that that's going to be the next interesting part to The Walking Dead here is, like, as we're awaiting, you know, Daryl and Rick's reunion and stuff, that's going to be a couple of years still, you know, like, there's going to be a lot of other stories that they're, you know, kind of teasing and all of that. And yes, as soon as they announce the next new series or a season 2 or whatever for The Ones Who Live, people are going to be really hyped about that. But there's going to be all these other things happening right now. And I just think, you know, are they going to do that though? That's my question I have, right? Like, if Dwight doesn't appear in Dead City at all, that's going to be such a missed opportunity. And I feel like overall, that's just like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Like, if you're just looking at it writing wise, that's like the most exciting thing in the world is that to actually have him a part of the story. So maybe not for a season 2, maybe that ends up being, you know, because I think that they do have to set up the story a little bit more, you know, introduce Kim Coates' character and get more into what the story is going to be this next phase here for Negan. And then also the, you know, the next phase of the story for Maggie and just like what she's trying to do there at the bricks. Establish more of a story here and then get into this bigger arc here where you do have Dwight eventually show up and stuff, right? Because season 1 really felt like the introduction to everything here. It was sort of the first spinoff after The Walking Dead ended. And it was a very simple story. But I think with season 2, it's going to get a lot bigger. There's going to be a lot more going on here, right? So, yeah, I'm going to be very interested in seeing what they actually do here overall. But definitely post all your thoughts down below. Do you think Dwight is going to be in season 2, or do you think they're going to tease that Dwight will eventually show up? Maybe he shows up in the finale or something like that, and then ends up being a character for season 3. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.